Andy here. I'm a 3D artist. Actually, probably 3D generalist is a little bit more accurate. Technical artist is actually more accurate than that. But maybe we should just hit the brakes right there and talk about some of these like job descriptions and the nuances between them. I tried to make this video before, but it's actually pretty challenging to describe what I do without having to describe and oversimplify like the entire studio environment. So I'm going to do my best to just try to focus on my little slice of the process. For this video, I'm going to be using this online software called Miro. It's like this online whiteboard software where you can collaborate with other people. There's free versions of it, and it's really useful. I use it all the time, but it helps me to have something visual to look at when I'm explaining something. So 3D artists come in a huge spectrum. They're not mutually exclusive with 3D generalists either. But in general, I'm going to oversimplify a little bit and talk about the primary roles that these artists tend to fill. So you have like, let's use some examples. There's modelers, the people that make the actual characters and props that go into these games. There's layout and level designers that take those models and build up environments and orchestrate all of those assets into different environments and levels. There's lighting artists that specialize solely in lighting and making sure that it looks good and performs well. There's animators. That's pretty self-explanatory, but taking all the animations needed for gameplay logic and for cinematics. There are animators that specialize in both of those. There's VFX artists, the people that are making all of the explosions and dust that you see in games. These 3D roles, people tend to bob and weave between these things, but you do find people that specialize in these specific things. So then when you're making a game, there's also the more technical side of it. There's all the code. There's the how do you program the interactivity into a game, and that's where you get the programmers and developers. And so there are different ways of working when it comes to these guys, but in general, you usually find people that do either the art side or the developer side, so the creative side or the code side. There's creativity in the code side for sure, but just, again, oversimplifying. And where I fit in is I tend to live in between these two areas. I tend to be able to fill all of these roles if needed, but I also can step in a little bit into the dev territory if I need to. But it really helps to be able to have a view of all of the art processes and a bit of the development processes, to not only be able to handle the more technical sides of the creative stuff. There's a lot of more technical systems in Unreal that I tend to work on that might be a little bit more technical than a lot of the 3D artists are comfortable with. Any 3D art is going to have a technical side to it. It's just the nature of working digitally. But there's a spectrum of that. If you were to put that technical aspect on a parameter, there's a huge spectrum to how technical it can get. So it's by nature you tend to be a generalist because there might be aspects of all of these things that have a more technical side that need to be programmed that you can either hand off to developers or if they're doing other stuff, you can kind of start to fill that plate a little bit. So not only just working in these ways and bridging this gap, but there's also like supporting all of these departments here. Like they, when it comes to scalability, if like let's say a modeler is having something that they're struggling with or that is taking them a long time to do over and over again, a tech artist will come in and basically write some code to streamline that, make a tool for them so that they don't have to keep repeating the same process over and over again. And so they tend to step into all of these people's workflows to streamline their work. And so it tends to be a lot more of a I mean, any studio environment is going to be really collaborative, but like really a tech artist tends to bounce around all these different departments to make sure that everybody is not only like working efficiently, but also being able to fill the gaps in any part of this process. So yeah, it can be pretty difficult to define exactly like what you do as a tech artist because it's a pretty wide swath of work. But if I was to oversimplify, it's that you're able to step into any of these art roles and not only that, but be able to streamline those processes and be able to communicate and collaborate with programmers to be able to I mean, usually when you're handing that stuff off, you're further streamlining it into code where it tends to leave the view of like most artists where it's just living in C++ or another coding language. But yeah, that is just my personal lens of this whole process. I know that other people, I'm sure, have like hugely different experiences of like what it means to be a tech artist. This is just sort of the latest glove I've put on that seems to fit pretty well. But whenever you're out there looking for work, you're seeing how can I pivot to more fit like what a studio needs, and it tends to like encompass a lot of these different roles that we're talking about. So yeah, I'm really interested to see and hear from you guys if you have a different experience or if it means something completely different to you, or even if you're completely outside this industry and there are similarities with something that you're experiencing or that you experience in your work. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment below. I'll keep making more of these videos whenever I come across a topic that I think could be useful. So I will see you next time. Thanks for joining.